This is Duncan Fawley, and we're going to be talking about carbon footprint in engineering companies. As I've done with all of the presentations around eco-engineering and sustainability, we need to acknowledge that a lot of the information we're going to talk about today has an expiry date. So I recommend that when you listen to this presentation, use it maybe as a starter for your research, but please take time and do your own research to fact check everything. The date for this was November in 2023, so things will almost definitely have changed and things will be updated, so hopefully things will have got better and stuff. So please look at this, come to your own conclusions, and if things have changed, just take that into account. Also, when we look at these topics, it's very hard not to become a little bit preachy. Hopefully, I don't, and you come to your own conclusions. So, what we're going to do is talk about carbon footprint engineering companies and just challenges and propose possible solutions. So what is a carbon footprint? The definition for that is the total greenhouse gas emissions caused directly and indirectly by an individual, organisation or a product. It's importance of measuring the carbon footprint, we'll talk about that, and the role of engineering companies in contributing to carbon emissions. And you will see this through the other presentations within this eco-engineering batch of lectures, and you need to take them all into consideration and come to your own conclusions. So importance of measuring carbon footprint is important around the environmental awareness. To measure carbon footprint helps raise awareness about the environmental impact. It's accountability, so measuring the carbon footprint holds individuals and organizations accountable for their emissions. Goal setting allows companies can set realistic and measurable goals for reducing emissions. This enables the development of strategies and action plans to achieve these goals. It also is related to performance monitoring, which allows for ongoing monitoring of emissions over a long period of time, helps track progress and assesses the effectiveness of implementing mitigation measures. Compliance and reporting. Many jurisdictions require organizations to report their carbon emissions, so it's basically a requirement for companies to do this and to act upon it. And also regarding decision making, carbon footprint measurement provides valuable information for informed decision making. It's also a lot of companies measuring their carbon footprint as it's part of their reputation and branding. In an era where sustainability is gaining prominence, measuring and actively reducing carbon footprint, enhancing an organization's reputation and strengthening its brand image. Customers are starting to look at what they're buying and its environmental and carbon footprint, and they're making decisions based on that now. And also hopefully its cost reduction carbon footprint measures can identify areas of inefficiency and waste from MUDA, leading to cost savings. It's also innovation and competitive advantage. Embracing carbon footprint measurement stimulates innovation within an engineering company. It encourages the development of new technologies, processes and products that are low carbon or carbon neutral, providing a competitive edge. It's global collaboration, so carbon footprint is not an individual person's problem, it's not a company's problem, it's a global problem. And measurement facilities, international collaboration and comparisons. It allows companies to benchmark their emissions against similar industries, identifying best practices. By measuring carbon footprint, engineering companies can take proactive steps towards reducing their environmental impact. mitigating climate change and contributing to a more sustainable future. Carbon footprint challenges, energy consumption and emissions in manufacturing processes. We're looking at that. Transportation and logistic emissions, material selection. So we're gonna, we've got a presentation on material selection and designing of products and stuff, and looking at alternative material selection. Carbon intensive project requirements, and we'll also look at scope 1, 2, and 3 and emissions in engineering activities. So what do we mean by scope 1, 2, and 3? Well, scope 1 is looking at the emissions, and is represents the direct greenhouse gas emissions from sources that are owned or controlled by the engineering company. For example, we're looking at fossil fuels, inside boilers, generators, vehicles, emissions from chemical reactions in industrial processes, leakage of refrigerators and stuff, measurement and control, scope 1 emissions are relatively easy to measure and control since they occur within the direct operational boundaries of the company. So they're on site. You can measure them, you can do something about them. Emissions from sources that an organization owns or controls directly. So you've got direct control of these emissions. So as a company, you should be able to measure them and do something about them. Scope 2 emissions refer to indirect greenhouse gas emissions with the consumption of purchased electricity, heat, or steam by the engineering company. So examples would be generated by power plants that generate electricity consumed by the company. So your factory is getting electric gas. How was that electric and gas generated and so? Scope 2 emissions depend on the energy sources used by the utility provider. Company can choose to purchase renewable energy or enter into a power purchase agreement to reduce the carbon intensity of the electricity consumption. So it's about finding out where the energy that comes into your factory is coming from and how it's produced. Scope 3 is looking at indirect greenhouse gases that occur from sources outside the company's operation and control, but as a result of its activities. So emissions from the entire life cycle of the product. So you're making a product, where did that source material come from, and what happens to this product at the end when it's come to, that product is finished its life cycle? Is it got renewable materials in it, or is it goes to a landfill? So measures we can do are these are the most challenging to measure and control since they involve multiple stages of value chain. Collaboration with suppliers, customers and other stakeholders is crucial to reduce these emissions. Strategies include sustainable procurement practices, optimizing logistics and transportation, promoting telecommuting and waste reduction and recycling initiatives. So the scopes 1 to it is important for engineering companies to consider all three of these. While scopes 1 and 2 emissions are directly linked to the company, scope 3 is harder to look at, measure and act upon, but it's something that all companies should be trying to address. So environmental economic impacts, climate change and global warming, so we have air pollution and health impacts, regulatory and legal considerations, reputational brand risk, and potential cost implications for carbon intensive operations. So carbon footprint solutions, so we're looking at things like energy efficient manufacturing processes, renewable energy adoption, lean and green supply chain management, life cycle assessment and eco design, smart infrastructure and energy management systems. So we're looking at transportation, would be simply either leave your car at home and take public transport, look at renewable energies and battery electric cars or hydrogen, and looking at even looking right down to diet and stuff as we try and reduce our carbon footprint. Other things is employee engagement and awareness, which we need to get everybody in the company to be aware of and buy into the concept of reducing the carbon footprint. It's internal carbon pricing and incentives, and sustainable procurement and waste management, remote working and virtual meetings and collaborative partnerships and sharing best practices. So it's a matter of each department, each person within a department take ownership of it and trying to reduce their carbon footprint. I do think that with the pandemic, remote working has increased a lot, thus reducing the use of personal cars and transportation and stuff. Carbon footprint solutions, engage with policymakers and advocating for sustainable practices, lobbying for stricter emissions, supporting renewable energy policies and encouraging sustainable transportation options, participating in carbon offset initiatives. This is where an individual or business can purchase a carbon offset to lessen its own carbon impact. An individual or business is considered to be carbon neutral when the quantity of carbon offset credits earned is equivalent to the carbon footprint. So it's quite a nice idea and stuff. You hear a lot of companies now where they'll plant a tree if you purchase a product and stuff like that. That's another thing as well. So case studies, things like Siemens, a global engineering company, and have implemented various initiatives to reduce their carbon footprint. From committed to becoming a carbon neutral by 2030, and has invested heavily in renewable energy solutions such as wind and solar energy. They also energy efficiency. The company focuses on improving energy efficiency of its products, including energy efficient motors, drives, and automated systems. They're also looking at incorporating eco design principles into its product development, and we'll look at computer design, material selection, and stuff like that in another presentation. And it looks looking at sustainable mobility. Siemens promotes sustainable transportation options for employees, including electric vehicles, charging infrastructures, encouraging public transportation. Another case study would be Google, an engineering-driven technology company, has made significant efforts to reduce its carbon footprint. Google is committed to matching 100% of its electricity consumption with renewable energy sources and invested in large-scale renewable energy products. They say that the company has optimized the energy efficiency of its data centers and servers, resulting in significant energy savings. Also, we they looked at carbon offsets, and Google invests in high quality carbon offset projects to neutralize any remaining emissions it cannot eliminate itself. Google's decarbonization journey since 2007, carbon neutrality 2017, 100% new renewable energy match, and 2030 net zero emissions. And they're looking at their supply chain and improving environmental practices and reducing emissions throughout the supply chain. Another example would be ABB, who are a multinational engineering company and have implemented sustainable solutions to reduce its carbon footprint. ABB offers energy management systems that help industry customers optimize energy consumptions to reduce emissions. They've been looking at ABB have been leading provider of electric vehicle charging infrastructure. So in my local car park, we have ABB fast chargers. They're more expensive than charging at home, but they're still there. ABB develops and deploys energy storage solutions that integrate renewable energy sources into the grid, reducing the reliance on fossil fuels. And also they're looking at the smart grid technology. So ABB smart grid technology helps improve the efficiency and reliability of electricity distributions, facilitating the integration of renewable energy. These case studies highlight engineering companies that have implemented effective solutions to reducing their carbon footprint by investing in renewable energy, improving energy efficiency, adopting sustainable practices, and engaging collaboration efforts. These companies demonstrate the importance of taking proactive steps to address carbon emissions. These examples can serve as an inspiration and provide guidance for other engineering companies seeking to implement similar solutions. So it's all about trying to measure what your carbon footprint is, but not just when it's with you. Before your products or your energy suppliers, or before all that gets to your factory, you need to look before and afterwards. What happens to your products once you've made them and sold them to your customer? So it's a holistic viewpoint. So hopefully that brief introduction was helpful to you. Like I've said, things will change, may already have changed since this presentation. And feel free to leave any comments and maybe updates and stuff, hopefully politely. And thank you for listening.